When we hear about a massive corporate cyber attack, our minds immediately jump to a specific Hollywood image: alarms blaring, panic on the floor, and a shadowy genius in a dark room actively breaching state-of-the-art firewalls. In the real world, attackers rarely crack complex mainframes through sheer intellect or write brilliant code on the fly. This equation breaks down the actual mechanics of a successful intrusion. An attacker really only needs three things to succeed: a known software vulnerability, enough time to exploit it, and internal negligence from the target institution. When those three align, you get a total compromise. The most devastating hacks you read about in the news aren't technical masterstrokes. They happen because an organization simply left its digital front door wide open. We have to accept a baseline reality about technology: flaws exist. Having vulnerabilities, or weak points in a system's code, is a completely normal and expected condition of operating software. Every major bank, every government agency, and every Fortune 500 corporation operates daily with known flaws inside their networks. The crisis begins when a software manufacturer issues a patch, a ready-to-install update that fixes the flaw, and the institution decides to put it on a shelf. A system's downfall begins the moment a known risk is met with organizational apathy. Let's trace how a breach actually develops. It almost always starts with a low-level IT employee or security analyst noticing a critical flaw and sending an alert up the chain of command. The response they get is usually a bureaucratic wall. Management tells them they are too busy with a new rollout, or the operations team refuses to authorize the brief system downtime required to install the fix. You also run into IT directors who dismiss these warnings entirely. They assume that because they recently purchased expensive antivirus software or firewalls, their network is somehow untouchable. This flowchart tracks the true life cycle of a security failure. The system detects the threat, the technicians report the threat, and then the alert dies on a manager's desk. Cybersecurity failures are an administrative bottleneck, not a technical breakdown. An attacker doesn't need to invent new malware if they can rely on a company's internal delays and lack of priority to do the heavy lifting for them. To test this theory, look at a high-pressure environment where these administrative flaws are magnified: corporate IT infrastructure in Yemen. Institutions here frequently rely on unsupported, deeply outdated hardware. When the manufacturer no longer writes security updates for your servers, you are operating with a permanent, unpatchable vulnerability. Then you factor in the human resource bottleneck. It is incredibly common to find a single, overwhelmed employee tasked with managing the entire network, the servers, and the security apparatus alone. Add in environmental constraints like near-zero cybersecurity budgets and frequent power and internet outages. Under these conditions, executing a standard daily software update becomes an administrative nightmare. You can buy the most expensive firewall on the market, but if you lack the structural plan to keep it updated and online, the hardware is functionally useless. There is a specific framework built to cure this administrative disease. It's called Cybersecurity GRC, which stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. GRC is not a piece of software you install. It doesn't write code, and it cannot automatically patch a bug on your server. GRC forces an organization to confront exact metrics. This dashboard tallies open critical bugs and tracks how long they've been ignored. It then demands accountability, calculating potential financial damage and clearly identifying exactly who is legally responsible for fixing them. GRC takes a routine technical warning that management might ignore and turns it into a documented executive decision that requires an immediate answer. So, what does a strong institution actually look like in practice? It is not an institution with zero vulnerabilities. Software engineering inherently produces flaws, making a perfectly clean system an impossible goal. True strength requires a clear chain of command. A secure institution knows the flaws, the precise timeline to fix them, and the specific person held accountable. The actual danger to a network is simply leaving a critical vulnerability wide open without making a formal decision.